all messed up. We gotta be extra careful about what's going on here.
Should I get a hammer or something?
I think we should be good.
Should I get a hammer or something?
Well, that was unnerving.
We're trapped, like two lads in a rat.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, whatever.
Turn it down. Turn the fluctuator down.
Well, the cross-dimensional spamming is jamming up the ship.
There, it looks like it's cleaning up.
Jake, look! It's those guys!
You two butter tarts.
Those guys.
Hold it now, guys. Hold it. Look. We called because we're sorry.
That whole thing with Evil Josh really got out of hand.
He burned down my apartment!
He was just, kidding around.
Oh, he just murdered a bunch of people around here.
Evil Josh, he's always joking around.
But we decided to fix things by helping you out.
Because he really messed things up for you guys.
Wait, what do you mean?
You weren't supposed to pull the time streams together.
Now there are two different things that happen in each of your time streams competing to be the thing that happened.
Oh, great! Now what are we supposed to do?
See, you should just got in my time stream, you fat jerk.
Who's a jerk?
You're the
Guys, stop. We have a plan.
An evil plan, I'll just bet.
Why does everyone have to shout? Like, all the time?
Silence! Listen to my face. Woe be to they who would entwine times askew, for to set backeth...
It doesn't say back.
Shut up! For to set back to right which has gone wrong, two heroes must quest for the sacred MacGuffins. When brought together, they will show the way to salvation.
What?
That's alright, I was listening. How many are there?
Whatever. 6.
Yeah, 6.
Well, thanks for the tip, I guess.
You better not be messing with us.
No, we've learned our lesson. We're pals now, you and us. On the same side even.
But don't forget, time is damaged. So the past and the future can bleed into the present. So, no lollygagging or anything.
Of course. We're gonna get right to the bottom of this. Don't worry at all.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, and if you need any help, don't hesitate to call.
Alright, so where should we start? Hey, what are you doing?
Put in another chorus, I'm a bro, can play with me.
Yeah, go it.
Yeah, here we go.
Alright. Pew, 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 pew. Trev, I'm stuck to the buttons.
Me too, mine are all sticky.
The air's all blocky in here.
Your face is blocky.
Your face is blocky! What'd you do?
Me? You wanted to go play Thunder King instead of doing the thing? Drizzt to Arden. We're sharing a single score, and friendly fire is turned on. Also, we're in a game, apparently.
That could only mean one thing. The Video Vizier. Your father-in-law.
I didn't marry old square butt.
It was square.
Right?
Yeah. So, I'm going to guess that this is his new castle? It's kinda grim.
Sorta Carpathian? Let's go see what he wants.
We demand to see the Vizier.
Vizier's office. Can I help you?
We demand to see the Vizier.
I'm afraid he's very busy, and since he doesn't make appointments with riffraff, no.
Don't you know who we are?
Should I?
We're Jake and Trev.
Of J&TRE review everything?
Who?
I wooed his daughter.
Well, hold on, let me check. Well, it does say here you're scheduled for a reaming out. Have a seat, and I'll try to get you an audience.
We've been trying to do that all year.
Zing.
With him.
Aww. Do you have anything to read?
No, but we do have this tape you could watch.
Welcome to Jake and Trev Review Everything.
I'm Trev.
And I'm Jake, and we're in this video game waiting room. Waiting to be scolded for something. I don't know.
I don't know. It makes me feel unimportant.
Yeah,
you know?
right?
Like,
If you're gonna get really upset at me, then why not just, you know...
it's a power play. He's just making us wait.
Yeah.
It's a power play, that's all.
Pretty much. So the only video that they have in this waiting room is Cloak and Dagger. Not that Cloak and Dagger.
It started as a game. Now they are playing for keeps.
Trying to kill us.
And the only person who believes it is a legendary agent named Flack. Cloak and Dagger. Rated PG.
1984 Cloak and Dagger, starring Ralph Dibny.
No, not the elongated man. Dabney Coleman.
Okay.
Of Drexel's class.
I just don't like it. Drexel's class.
So, Trev, what did you think of the movie?
It was surprising. As someone who, you know, has seen a lot of the exploitive movies that came out around that period, particularly one movie crashes right through the pack in my mind, The Wizard.
Video Armageddon.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It is at its heart a video game advertisement.
Right, and really, I mean that says everything you need to know about the 80s in general. Is everything was an advertisement for something. All the kids' cartoons were advertisements for toy lines.
The evil Decepticons have a secret new weapon, Shockwave. The Transformers.
Walking into this expecting something sort of like The Wizard, I don't know, I don't feel like they were jamming the video game aspect of it down your throat so much. The narrative of the movie kind of really took off in a separate direction from, like, the actual story of the game in any way.
Yeah. It felt to me like somebody was like, alright, we gotta shield this game. So, you know, some guy chewing on a cigar.
What's the game about?
Oh, I don't know, it's about some secret agent guy. You know what, just write whatever you want, and we'll put it on the screen. Who cares?
Right. Some kind of video game guy, and it's a spy video game. Kids play video games. To be some kind of spy kid.
I think it's up to us. You with me. Okay.
At some point it goes off the rails. You kind of expect something in the beginning, and you get a whole nother thing. And the thing that you get isn't bad, but it is kind of odd.
Right. So, I mean, I wouldn't rate this as, like, a great film, obviously, but it has surprising value. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it as a flick. Anybody who's kind of looking for a little blast of nostalgia might want to check this one out. Overall, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. No, I'd have to say the same thing. I enjoyed it, mostly because I was going into it expecting something different.
Oh God, not the gotcha dancers.
In every turn of the Wizard, you know, they do the calling up Nintendo tech support and doing that montage, and, you know, the big reveal at the end is Super Mario Bros. 3, so that's basically what they're showing, and then you have the Power Glove, It's So Bad, and, you know, all that stuff. So step by step throughout the movie, it's a big advertisement. In this one, the only advertisement you really get is a small bit of gameplay in the middle of the movie, and a picture of the cartridge, and that's about it.
Alright, let's shut it off, alright? Come on.
But I get another life.
Let's just shut it off. That's enough.
Dad.
We're gonna get into the movie itself here, so, if
Do you think we can do it here? The central kid, named Davy Osborne, he's kind of a shy, somewhat awkward youth. His father's an Air Forceman, his mother's recently deceased. So he's having trouble coping with that. They threw some good hallmarks of that, like early on, easily distracted and kind of, aloof.
You still talking to Jack Black?
Sometimes.
And he has almost kind of set up as if that's another manifestation of his, difficulty dealing with his mother's death, as he has this imaginary friend named Jack Flack.
So, your friend cut off radio contact, did she?
Oh, hi, Jack.
Now, Jack Flack is the seminal character from Cloak and Dagger, the game. They actually set it up in a really weird way. They set it up as being a role-playing game that became like an arcade 5200 Atari game. Mm-hmm. Like, it's this whole franchise. His original name, which in real life is true, it was Agent X.
Like the Maracaibo assignment, remember that? Back when I was known as Agent X?
Yeah, he doubles as kind of Davy's compass, imaginary friend kind of deal. Mm-hmm. But oddly enough, he's played by the same actor who plays Davy's dad in the movie.
Yeah, his father, Hal Osborne, as I said, an Air Forceman, who is, of course, very dedicated to his job.
Humor him, Davy. This turkey's not going to help us. We're on our own. And I got to work a double shift today on account of that big inspection I told you about.
And it seems Away is having his own difficulty dealing with the fact that his wife's gone, the increased responsibility on him. He just seems so tired. That's one of the biggest differences between the two characters, Jack Flack and Hal, I picked up, is that, Jack Flack is, energetic and ready to rowdy-dow, he's ready for action. Meanwhile, Hal is very exasperated, very tired.
Let me tell you something, Davy. Heroes don't just shoot bad guys. They put supper on the table, they fix bicycles, they do boring things.
Cautious.
Yeah, he's been having a lot of difficulty adjusting to being a single parent on all this. So, so they're both played by the same character, and I think that's also kind of reflected in like a little bit of idealization of his father.
And then Davy's not alone. He also has his friend who's a younger girl, assumedly.
Kim.
You'll notice her right away as one of the girls in Kindergarten Cop. And she kind of plays not a super important role. I feel like she's almost there as kind of the basis for him getting into a lot of shit. She's kind of his partner in crime, Davy's partner in crime. But
I'd say she sort of serves the function to remind the audience that this isn't just like little kids being little kids. She's almost definitely a littler kid than Davy.
Yeah.
And she thinks that his whole, I'm a spy thing is kind of weird and goofy and so forth.
Davy, this is embarrassing.
They also make friends with the proprietor of a game store. And he's played by the guy who was in Extreme Prejudice.
Where I come from, we don't take to no calling us no asshole.
William Forsythe.
Yeah.
I'm glad he made it out of Mexico.
Yeah.
Not far, and not for long, apparently.
Yeah. Said I'd be right there.
He's also kind of filler almost, like he's a pivotal character for all of 10 minutes in the movie.
You're the genius around here.
Davey, he gets sent by the proprietor of the shop to go pick up some game manuals.
Yeah, he goes to pick up like a game catalog to see what they're going to be releasing within the next couple of months or so. Because he's a proprietor of a game store, He
certainly doesn't have time to get that shit himself, so he sent some kids down there to get it for him.
And go to their vending machine. Pick me up a pack of Twinkies.
He gets there, and then he sees somebody fucking get shot. This is where the movie goes off the rails.
I'm one to think that kids can handle a lot more than we give them credit for, but at the same time, a little kid like that, walking in on a guy getting shot, basically.
For kids.
The guy who gets shot's like, there's a cartridge, it's got secrets I can get to the FBI, here's some other information. And then he like falls over the stairwell and like just hits the ground.
All the way to the ground floor.
And then there are these three guys. This is the first introduction of these characters. There's like a head bad guy and then two henchmen. And these henchmen are the worst henchmen ever.
Oh my god.
They're the only thing they're good at. One guy is really good at walking through windows.
Not just windows, also, punching through doors. Scaring little kids.
Any questions or anything you'd like to ask me as we go along, please do not hesitate to do.
You have Davey running around with his imaginary friend, trying to not get killed with a special cartridge that turns out to have secret information, and, Yeah, and, it's kind of odd because for being Davey's imaginary friend, basically being a function of Davey talking to himself, he seems to have some, okay ideas at first, especially about how to operate militarily, spy-like, Yeah.
Trying to kill us.
They can't kill me. They can't see me.
So the movie can't decide whether Jack Flack is an imaginary friend or more than an imaginary friend. He is able to manipulate things, so it makes you think that maybe he does exist in some form or another.
Yeah, like he tosses the game cartridge to Davey at one point.
He also manipulates a trunk of a car and a number
pulls
of
him out of a vehicle.
Yeah, a number of other things, like moves a dead guy off of him.
Jack, help me. Get him off me.
Crowded enough for you in here?
Assumedly, when you have an imaginary friend, they're working off of your psyche. So they only know what you know.
Right.
And for the most part, that's true. In fact, at one point, Davey ends up driving a car. And he turns to Jack Flack, it's like,
You gotta tell me how to drive this thing.
I don't know. This is a real car.
But then, there's definitely other parts. Especially there's a scene where the thugs finally corner him. And it seems almost that the thug can see him for just a moment.
Come on. Come on, turkey, shoot. Come on. Right here.
Because that's like one of the only explanations that could be for that specific scene. But yeah, the thugs are kind of bad. Also, halfway through the movie, we're introduced to an elderly couple.
We meet them in this really great scene as Davey's trying to escape. They get on this boat and it's kind of lazily going along, and he gets in line, and then the guys following him get in line like a few people back, and they're like they keep looking back at each other.
It's a really tense scene. It's a really good scene.
It's surprising, there's somehow having a little kid be a part of it at first almost drains away a lot of the seriousness of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they really play it to its full. All these two killer adults who are going to murder this child, they're trying to play it cool so they don't give themselves away, and they keep trying to get him closer and move closer to Dave. Then he kind of gets stopped by this elderly couple.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, is that man trying to get you?"
Looks like a pervert, if you ask me.
And then they kind of help him out a little bit, and then something happens, he gets away. But then later on, he goes to the Alamo. And then they're still there, and then there's kind of a twist there where it's like, they help him out again, and then they're like, let us give you a ride home, and then it turns out that they're actually
the villain of the story.
Not that we really explained it, but the three guys, like the head guy and the two henchmen, are trying to get this information that was given to Davey in the video game.
Yeah, the video game cartridge that was handed to Davey earlier in the film has plans of a secret governmental nature that is hidden somewhere on the inside, and these men apparently want to smuggle it out of the country. They have some contact that they're going to meet up with and do a trade-off, and it's there at the Alamo where they're ready to do the trade-off. And Davey, having overheard them before, knows that that's the plan, so he thinks he's going to have an opportunity to try to steal this cartridge back. And yeah, there's a really great, classic spy switcheroo.
What makes you so sure I gave the wrong case back?
Pardon? You got it! But how'd you do it?
Well, I just gave that man my camera case in his place. Never noticed the difference.
And it's kind of weird because up to that point, They seemed really genuinely interested in helping him.
Yeah, they seemed really nice.
But then as they do the reveal, because Davey's talking about how he doesn't know what the contacts, the people that the thugs are supposed to be meeting with,
they mentioned earlier.
Like.
Yeah, they mentioned the only thing is like
one of the thugs only has 2 fingers.
Right. And then the lady's like this, and then takes off a glove, and she's only got 2 fingers. So you're like, oh fuck.
And she's like, "What's wrong, Davey?"
They both have this look on their face.
It cuts back to her husband. He's like, and it's like, you're some sick people. I mean, like, these are kind of sick people, not only because they're apparently traitors to, the United States of America, but also because they're taking such sick pleasure in fucking around with this little kid.
Right?
Won't somebody please think of the children?
The old people get involved. The end is this kind of thing that happens in the airport between the old people. Davey's dad shows up. There's almost kind of like a Die Hard 2 thing that happens at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
And then, Dad and Davey and the little girl all survive, and everybody fucking dies. So
everyone else, it's kind of a nice reconciliation at the end where Davey and his father reunited after all this tension and danger.
How'd you escape?
Jack Flack always escapes.
I don't need him anymore. I've got you, Dad.
It's a little heartwarming. I felt the tug or two on the strings.
But it comes from a really weird place, though. I mean, what we didn't explain, throughout that whole thing, you still have the influence of Jack Flack.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, it gets really grimdark.
I don't want to kill anybody.
Davey, you know the rules.
Yeah, he, the proprietor of the game shop, who Davey brings the cartridge to at one point to try to get his help figuring out how to get the plan off of there. He ends up getting visited by the bad guys, the proprietor, and gets shot for his trouble.
They shoot him in the face!
For kids.
No, it's not for kids. And then they stuff his body in the trunk of their car, and at one point Davey hides in the trunk.
Being told by Jack Flack that the trunk would be a great place for him to hide from the bad guys, and he finds his buddy dead in the trunk.
Shot in the face.
And Jack encourages them to get in there anyway, and they're hiding.
I lose soldiers all the time.
He's
I'm
like,
a secret
but
agent.
he was my friend. How could he do that? Jack's response:
I guess he just wasn't good enough.
Yeah, but they didn't have to kill him.
Yeah, you've been playing this game as long as I have. You get used to this kind of thing.
Yeah. That's cold as ice, Jack. I mean, this is a little kid. You gotta get treated with kids' gloves a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot of... One of the main messages that Jack Flack tries to pound into Davey the entire time is like, alright, we've played, Agent X, we've played Cloak and Dagger, we played the games, the role-playing games.
Now we're playing for keeps.
Now we're playing for real, and he's got this constant tenor of, you have to grow up, you have to be a man. And at some point, he's being tracked by these 2 thugs in a park. And he's like, alright, you gotta pull this move where they're gonna shoot each other.
Yep, you gotta lead one of their fire toward you and then cross paths so he ends up shooting his friend instead.
Yeah. And then it happens.
He's like, I don't want to do that, Jack! And
Look, how many people have I killed for you over the years?
And Jack's like, fucking nut up. Nut up or shut up.
Nut up or shut up.
And then he does it, and then he takes the gun off of the dead guy. And
at Jack's urging.
Look, Davey, now pick up the gun.
So he gets the gun, and then the guy pins him up against a wall, and the guy's like, I'm gonna, just graphically,
I'm gonna blow both your kneecaps off. It won't kill you, but it'll hurt worse than any dying you can imagine. And then when you beg for me to finish the job, I won't do it.
It's like, what the fuck?
For kids.
And then Jack Flack's like, just go ahead, shoot him. Just shoot him.
Come on, Davey, shoot him.
And Davey's like, I don't want to shoot him.
And he's like,
all right, I'll show you what a real hero would do. Watch this.
What's weird, he's trying to lead him along, and he's like emasculating him at the same time and saying how he's not a man. And this is where, this scene is where everything takes a huge turn.
Davey looks over and says, Jack, no! And then the guy who's got the gun pointed at Davey thinks that there's somebody over there.
Turns his gun and starts firing over at the wall wildly. And to defend his buddy Jack's life, Davey ends up shooting him. And afterwards, he goes over and Jack starts comforting him and saying, "You did it, buddy. You're a man now.
And he's
You're
like,
a real spy. You won the game. They're all dead." He's like, "I didn't want to do that." You know, he's like,
"Like, you tricked me. You made me shoot that guy."
He's like, "Well, we gotta keep going, buddy." He's like, "No!"
I don't want to play anymore.
At that point, it's almost like Jack kind of makes a big turn all of a sudden.
He comes clean about being an imaginary friend.
He gets all...
Why do you kids always say that?
Huh?
My father said the same thing. And after all those games of cowboys and Indians, get tired of make-believe and break your toys.
Yeah, it turns out he's not really an imaginary friend, and then this lends credence to all the other scenes earlier where he was actually making physical changes to his environment.
It's very much like Drop Dead Fred, because there's a scene in that movie where Drop Dead Fred can talk to the other imaginary friends.
What are you doing?
I am playing with my friends.
Can transfer himself from one kid to the next when the kids stop believing in him. It's classic imaginary friend rules, but it still has an air of supernatural.
Yeah, and he says, "I always hated that rule that I had to go when the kid stops believing," and it implies so much of like this whole agency of imaginary people who follow these rules to like befriend lonely children and everything, and then it just kind of gets swept under the rug in the middle of the finish.
但我想那是因为这群蠢蛋的胸口没这玩意儿，我也没有了。
I don't know, I mean, like, the sudden realization that there's, like, these supernatural entities that are imaginary friends for, like, generations, it's a big move. That could be a movie all by itself. But it's kind of, like, tucked into a pocket of this espionage movie. It's kind of weird. It's like a product placement movie.
Product placement.
It's not like The Wizard, where they were going out of their way to show you how cool the Power Glove was.
Yeah.
Like, they were really setting it up to be some hot shit, you know?
Yeah.
And they just don't follow through in this movie in any way to really make you want to play the game.
Strange game. The only winning move is not to play.
If they really wanted to do it, they could have had Dabney Coleman in a whole movie. Like, the opening of this film is, him being Agent X, being Jack Flack. And he's, doing an espionage thing, and then it cuts back, and it turns out it's just, Davey role-playing with his friend.
Mm-hmm.
But they could have done a whole movie like that, and it could have been kind of like a tongue-in-cheek type, top secret, or, like James Bond for kids, kind of deal.
James Bond Jr.
And that would have sold the video game like gangbusters.
Right. From a movie standpoint, from an entertaining standpoint, this definitely succeeded. But even without the video game crash to ruin the party for everyone back in 1984...
E.T. Video game? E.T. is the Atari video game cartridge you have to buy separately to play on the Atari video computer system.
I have a difficult time imagining that the people from Atari were going to be very pleased with how this movie turned out as a reflection of their product.
Yeah. I mean, it's no Super Mario Brothers.
Super Mario Brothers. This ain't no game.
If you or any of your friends happen to get stuck in a video game waiting room and it's the only thing laying around, I mean, you could do a lot worse than that.
Absolutely.
Well, that about wraps it up for Jake and Trev Review Everything.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Trev. Thanks for watching.
Wait, are they watching?
I don't know. I mean, the arcade machine, like the internet, is a series of tubes, so I can only presume that it's going to get out to them eventually.
Hopefully it'll get out to our peeps on the outside.
I've seen the Vizier. He doesn't even have a daughter.
What?
But he has agreed to see you. So follow me.
What do you think she meant? He doesn't even have a daughter.
She's probably as crazy as Dr. J&TRE.
I can hear you, dirty word animals.
Gentlemen, welcome to die.
peanut butter disaster.